All right. Everybody can start taking your seats. We'll start in just a moment. Thank you. Start making your way to the front and taking a seat. We would love for you guys to be in here when we get everything started. Please start moving and take your seats. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. It is good to see everybody. I want to thank you guys, everyone, for coming out this morning. It is an honor to be in front of you today. And it's always exciting to see all these libertarians coming out and preparing for a good time. So I'm excited, and we're going to get started. What I'm going to do first is our gracious hosts, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the VFW, is here allowing us to use their event venue. So I did want to give them an opening opportunity just so they could talk to us for a very brief moment, and then we'll get on with the business. So
Thank you very much. My name is Jim Floss. I am here to help you. If there's anything you need while you're here, please see me. I may not be able to help you, but I'll give you a try. At any rate, I'm representing the VFW, specifically Post 5290, and I wanted to thank you for coming here and welcome you to our home. Like I said, if there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I have in the back room, the back of the room, I have some little red copies. I want everybody to have one, free of charge. But we do ask for donations. That's one of the ways that we are able to extend our help to other veterans. So again, thank you for being here. Welcome. And I wish you a very successful convention. And by the way, my background is I'm a retired political science professor, and Libertarians published the smallest political quiz many years ago, and I used to distribute them in every single class I taught. So I have some familiarity with the Libertarian Party. Thank you again, and again, I wish you a very successful weekend.
all right, thank you again for letting us use your facilities. It is always a pleasure. So our next order of business will be Spike Cohen and You Are the Power. Before we get to that, I do want to do some housekeeping stuff. Very simple things. There are snacks and drinks in the back. We take donations very gladly. $1, $2, $100. Whatever you want to do, we will take it and we will put it to good use toward liberty. So I do expect to see some $100 bills in there. Just saying, if I don't, I'm going to be disappointed. Don't make me sad. Don't make Danny Dolan sad. This is important, guys. So all that said, and all joking aside, we do have that stuff back there. just leave something in the box or don't. We do want everybody to feel comfortable and like they're not going to fall out on us today. So, little things out of the way, good stuff. We have Spike Cohen, who's going to speak to us today with You Are the Power. Spike was a vice presidential candidate in 2020. Gosh. 2020, my life. Guys, it was 2020. 2020 was the year that Spike Cohen was a vice presidential candidate, and the past 4 years have gone by in a flash. Spike has been keeping it going. He's been doing hard work, and You Are the Power has been doing amazing things to get justice in our supposed justice system. So I do want to introduce Spike Cohen and You Are the Power. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Jared. I watched his life flash before his eyes right there. In 2022, oh no, was that 20? What if I did? He said my life. He literally, that was the moment his life was flashing before his eyes. How's everyone doing? Okay, most of you are awake. Let's try it again. How's everyone doing? There we are. I'm definitely at the Georgia Convention now. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. I'm actually going to be giving my main speech at 1, but what I want to do is talk about my organization, You Are the Power, at this one. And by doing that, I'm actually going to have the folks that are doing the bulk of the legwork for You Are the Power here in the Southeast region and in Georgia to do that. But first, I want to talk about what You Are the Power is and why we do what we do. When I went across the country in 2020, 4 years ago, during the campaign when I ran for vice president, for those who don't know, I was your vice presidential candidate, so thank you. Thank you for that. Some of you may have voted for me, whether you knew it or not, thank you for that. But when I was going across the country, I kept meeting folks who would come to me with these terrible stories of what their local governments and what their state governments were doing to them. And I would empathize with them and tell them I'm so sorry, and I'd let them know I'm running for a national race, so that's not really anything that I can campaign on, but that I can try to see if I have any libertarians in the local area that can help them, and I can use my social media to talk about their cause and try to get some attention for it. And over time, I just kept doing more of that. When the campaign ended, I still had people reaching out to me about that. And when I, as I met more and more libertarians across the country, going to state conventions and networking with them online and in person, I realized we're growing something here. We're growing an actual network, and we're creating something that gives us something useful to do when we aren't, arguing with each other, which is also equally useful. Obviously, we should be arguing with each other. That's been very helpful. Thank you all. But in between that, we can be doing this. We can be helping people who need help now. We can be hopefully giving some feedback to the public officials on how they're doing it wrong and how they should be doing it better, at least on that cause. And we can also be showing people that at its core, none of this would be happening if public officials were respecting us as individual human beings. That's the core of what we do. And so to get more into how we do that here in Georgia and throughout the Southeast, I'm going to start with by introducing our national volunteer. You want to be the volunteer commander? Is that really what you want? He told me he wants to be his term was volunteer director, and he said he wanted volunteer.
You texted it.
Did I text it?
Yeah, you texted it first.
Our volunteer commander, Mr. Jason Lyons. Give it up for Jason Lyons.
Thanks, Mike. So I'm now the volunteer commander. I'm glad I've gotten promoted from volunteer director. It's been incredible. And so Spike, of course, started this off with trying to be able to network with the libertarians to be able to make a difference, and knowing that these things were going to bring the public to understanding and seeing the problems with the government. And what we've been able to accomplish that is not just appealing to libertarians, but we're appealing to people across the entire spectrum. We're able to show people what is happening to the common person outside of our party is wrong, and they then start adopting and adapting to the libertarian mindset and being able to push liberty forward. So from the organization of You Are the Power, we have been setting the entire nation aflame with the yearning for liberty. So it's been incredible to be a part of this. And I want to start off with talking a little bit about a story from last August, which was after 2020. A little bit.
Gary, a little
So last August, we were standing in the middle of the heat in front of City Hall in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah.
There was 30 of us, so it was technically by their standards a nuisance, and we were required to have a permit. We didn't have that.
No.
And we stood there, and we had signs, and we had people coming out, many of them not libertarian. Many of them had never even heard of what a libertarian was. But they knew that being harassed for the mere idea of wanting to feed another person who was in need, they knew that that was wrong. And they got involved, and they stood out there. They were sweating. We were handing out waters to people that were in need, people walking by. And we were able to get people engaged. We were able to get people informed. And we were able to get people to be a part of the solution. It was incredible to be a part of that. It's been incredible to be a part of You Are the Power as we continue to do this. And so it's been my absolute honor and my joy. I've never felt so much fulfillment in any role, such as being here with You Are the Power and being able to touch on all of these different things. I'm going to hand it off real quick to Brandon Deal. This is our Southeastern regional organizer. He is the guy who covers 8 states.
Yeah, it feels like all of them.
It feels like all of them sometimes. But he is the man that, when we have causes coming down here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Hernandez family here when Ryan comes up here. But he and I work hand in hand to be able to find out what these problems are and to be able to work towards finding a solution that works for everybody and to be able to tackle these government issues. So,
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. So, how many of you guys are veterans? Show of hands. All right. Yeah. See, me too. All right. That's what drove me. Whenever I got started politically and through grassroots by working veterans causes, veterans issues, veterans concerns. I got accosted by state senators. I got ran out of House representatives' offices because I believe in holistic options for veterans as well as everybody else. I believe in medical care, mental health facilities. I believe that there's a lot of things that we should be doing for our veteran communities that none of them were inspired to follow up with. So I got ran out of all of those offices and found myself at Spike's door whenever I was helping out with an issue in North Carolina. We had a gentleman there by the name of Joshua Rohr. Joshua is a veteran, a combat veteran. He's disabled. He's finding some issues with his mental health, and now we came in touch with him by a news article we found of where the local police in Gastonia, North Carolina, threw him against the car, accosted him, and accused him of panhandling, all from a phone call of nobody that even accused him of panhandling. There's a legal definition of the word. It's not just a fancy word they throw out. Panhandling is whenever you beg, are told no, and continue to request. That's when it becomes a criminal. That becomes a criminal charge. I disagree with that, but I'll digress. While helping him, we came to find out that there were a lot of issues there within the homeless community, all throughout the entire town, the entire region, everywhere, all in the state of North Carolina. I did some research, and there was some 14,000 known homeless, unhoused veterans in the state of North Carolina. I did some research and just did some. I got curious. Rockingham, North Carolina has a smaller population than the unhoused population in the state. Of that, they presume that 12% are homeless veterans. I couldn't handle that. There's a gentleman there that we came to know by the name of Moses. Pastor Moses has a ministry that they feed, and he opened up the property to the unhoused and allowed them to set up tents. And there's so much to this that's going to make you mad. But by the end of it, we had trailers that were delivered to the site. We had a contractor that came in, they put up a privacy fence. They come out, they built platforms to where the tents were no longer having to be on the ground. That just a little semblance of human respect. Human respect. That's what we go for. That's our hashtag line. You'll see it on all of my posts. Human respect. And if you can't have that, you just cannot have a working society. We've got issues across the entire country. I'm for the Southeast. I've got Virginia to Florida, out to Louisiana and back. And we're next month, we'll be out in Mississippi. I'm not going to steal too much thunder, but we'll be in Mississippi handling an ongoing cause. We've been getting an outpour of requests from families, just like the Hernandez family, that you'll hear more about here in a minute as well, looking for us to do something, and just desperate pleas for help from community members, your community members that are looking to us for help. And we've got a sign up sheet out there on our table that I'd love for every one of you to sign up. Sign up for our free membership. If you feel so inclined, please go in and donate. For the rest of this month, there are huge donation opportunities where for every $1 you donate, that's 3 to the organization. It's actually extended to next month. Good
You
news.
didn't know that.
That was extended to next month. That has now been extended. That just happened. Everybody, give somebody a round of applause.
I didn't do it.
So I would like to take this time now to introduce Ryan. So Ryan came to our team about 2 months ago. About 2 months ago, Ryan came to our team, and we quickly found that Ryan knows everybody. Actually, here's a good test. Everybody in here, raise your hand if you know Ryan. You see that?
Yeah, that's
That's
oh,
a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah. You know, right?
But
That's good.
so
That's good.
Ryan has helped facilitate legal teams. He's got investigative prowess. This man will find anything. If you're trying to hide anything, if you know him, don't hide anything from him, because you will find it. But Ryan has been incremental to our team, and I really want to thank him and welcome him, and hope that you guys would do the same. Please welcome Ryan Ralston.
Good morning, everybody. I appreciate that, man. So, like you said, my name is Ryan Ralston. I'm the state director here in Georgia for You Are the Power. During the conversation that we're getting ready to have, I'm really going to refrain from using the word I. You're going to hear we a lot, because at You Are the Power, that's exactly what we are. We're a team of individuals. It's not about, we're a team concept, team of individuals. We're not about the I concept. A little bit about myself, just in general. So I work for the Georgia Innocence Project. We're a nonprofit organization. We're the only nonprofit organization in Georgia that's working to actively free the innocently incarcerated. Currently in Georgia, there's about 2,200 innocent men and women locked in cages for crimes they did not commit. So I just want to stress that, like right now, currently in Georgia, there are over 2,200 innocent men and women locked in cages for crimes they did not commit. Last year, we were able to help free 3 individuals who had spent on average about 25 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. And so it's a real tragedy to see that, but it's a real honor to work on behalf of an organization that actively fights to do. There's something rewarding about sitting in a courtroom with family members and watching the reunification of a family that has been separated for no fault of their own, typically for government corruption, typically for bad actors, corrupt law enforcement officers, prosecutors, forensic scientists within the GBI are equally as culpable. And that's the leading cause for innocent people getting sent to prison in Georgia. The second leading cause is just witness misidentification. So I just want to remind you guys that, because you all are from Georgia, it's prevalent here in Georgia more so than any other state in our union right now. I mean, I think 1 in 14 Georgians is currently on probation or parole. 1 in 14. So 1 in 5 has a criminal record. Right, so we are being over-policed, over-regulated by our government, and to no fault of our own. These human beings who are now our friends. And I will say this, to credit for the people that spent 20 plus years of their lives locked in a cage, they're the most humble, genuinely kind people you're ever going to meet. They harbor no ill will for their circumstances, none. They're thankful for what they have. They're thankful to be out, and they're thankful to be reunited with their family. And that's something that reminds me of why we fight, why we're here, and why we're doing what we're doing. Prior to that, I served as the chairman of the party, Libertarian Party here in Newton County, which is where I live, and also served as the executive director of Peachtree NORML. If you guys are familiar with NORML, NORML is a national organization reforming marijuana laws. I was the executive director of Georgia's charter chapter. I knew Spike and met Spike through a mutual friend, an attorney here in Atlanta. And this was really my introduction to You Are the Power, because like Brandon said, I've come on board within the past couple of months, strictly as the director here in Georgia, but I've worked behind the scenes for Spike and his team for about 8 or 9 months. If you guys are familiar with the Rasheem Carter case, what happened in Mississippi, and I'll give you guys a brief introduction about that, or at least a brief update about that. Rasheem Carter was a young man who disappeared in Taylorsville, Mississippi, and was later seen. You guys may have seen the video. He was seen on a trail cam, a deer trail cam, walking through the woods with his shirt off, carrying a stick covered in mud and water. About a month or so later, his remains were found by the gentleman who owns the property. Law enforcement was dispatched out there to process their remains, and they determined that there was no crime. No crime had occurred. Right? They didn't really know a whole lot about anything. So my background, I spent almost 20 years working in law enforcement, specifically in criminal investigations. I focused in and specialized in major felonies, crimes against children, cold case murders, things of that nature. So Spike knew a little bit about my background before he reached out to me here in Atlanta and wanted to see the best way to handle that particular issue in Taylorsville, Mississippi. And to Spike's testament, I tried my best to relate to Spike just how incredibly difficult this is going to be to manage a criminal investigation when there's nobody on the ground in Mississippi to do that. I'm here in Atlanta. Jason's in South Carolina. Brandon's in North Carolina. Spike's in South Carolina. We have some team members that are in Illinois. We have some team members that are in Iowa. We brought on some team members that are in New Hampshire, Maryland, and Washington. We're going to try to coordinate all our efforts to focus in on trying to find justice for Rasheem, and specifically for his mother, Tiffany. I reminded Spike on several occasions, not trying to dissuade him, but I said, Spike, the chances of us not solving this case, right? The chances of us providing answers to Rasheem's mother as to what happened to her baby while her baby was found in the woods, dismembered, bones scattered, how we're going to provide those answers to a mother. I said, Spike, realistically, there's about mathematically a 3 to 6% chance that we're going to be able to provide those answers. Solving this potential homicide, the chances are lower than that, because we're going to have to be able to take what we find, turn it over to someone like the FBI, and they're going to have to take the case over from us, because up until that point, the law enforcement work that had occurred inside Mississippi was about zero. They did nothing. There was an autopsy performed. They said that it's inconclusive. We don't know how Rasheem died. And that was really about the extent of it. And over the past year, law enforcement has done about zero work on this case. I reminded Spike multiple times, this is probably going to be one of the most challenging undertakings that you and your organization are getting ready to take on. I said, if you don't achieve success with this, it's going to be difficult to recover, not, on your promises, right? I was like, this is going to be one of the most challenging things you're ever going to have to undertake. This is probably one of the most challenging cases you're asking me to get involved with and to comprise a team and work on. And Spike, each and every time, I wasn't trying to dissuade him, but each and every time, Spike was like, I hear you, but we're going to do it anyways. I was like, now, are you sure you want to do this? Yes. You understand how difficult this is? Yes. Do you know that the chances of us being successful in this are about zero? Yes. He said, but we're going to do it anyways.
I'm a libertarian.
After all that, haven't bought your ticket yet.
And so that's testament, and that's testimony to Spike's dedication to justice and the truth, and it's testament and testimony to You Are the Power. So a team and I, we went down to Mississippi, and we spent a little over 3 days down there working 15 to 16-hour days on behalf of the family. and we were able to interview 50 plus people. We have confidential sources of information that are cooperating with us down there. And so we are able to put together a definitive timeline, a factual timeline of what happened to Rasheen. We can account on his whereabouts from a Friday, late Friday into late Thursday into early Friday morning, up until an hour that we believe he was taken by force from this gas station inside Taylorsville. It has taken us about 10 months to get this far. We are within 3 hours of completing that timeline and solving the case. And it's taken us about 11 months to get there. Because we were already about 8 to 9 months behind the 8 ball getting started in this. When you guys hear about the first 48 hours, they call it that for a reason. Because if you don't start developing leads and start working leads within those first 48 hours, the chances that you solve a homicide drop tremendously. I mean, 50% of all homicides in America go unsolved. And here's Spike saying, hey, we're going to be 8 to 10 months behind the 8 ball. I think we can do it. I want you guys down there to make this happen. Our answer is yes, sir. We're on our way. And we've been able to do that. We were able to brief Rasheen's mother. The team and I were able to brief Rasheen's mother earlier this month. Multiple tears were shed during that conversation. Heartfelt gratitude was expressed. And we made a promise to Tiffany, and we made a promise to Rasheen's family that we would seek justice for him at all costs, right? Because we're a team of volunteers. We're sacrificing our time, our effort, our money. We're taking time off of work to go down there and do these things. And the only thing that we asked of Tiffany and her family is, when we present our final case findings to you, maybe you can fry some chicken and make us some biscuits and have some cornbread. And she said, you got it. We'll do that for you. So we've been able to do all this in 10 months with people scattered across the country, all because one man had a vision to seek justice for a mother who was not getting answers as to what happened to her baby. You're probably going to hear more about the conclusion of this case come April or May of this year. We're going to be able to go public with that at this point because we're going to turn our findings over likely to the FBI at that point. We do believe at this point that a crime did occur, something that law enforcement did not believe at the time. We have identified an individual who is intimately involved with this case, who's a critical witness in this case that law enforcement did not know about. We will interview him next month when we go back to Mississippi. We've been able to do more in probably 2 or 3 months, the last 2 or 3 months, than law enforcement's been able to do in over a year, almost 2 years. And that's just because we were dedicated, and our mantra when we were down there was we were going to allow fact and not theory drive what we're doing. The truth was more important than the rumor. The truth was more important than hurt feelings. No matter who we were talking to, Jason, the first thing that we would tell them is, we're here to listen to you. We're here to help. We want the truth. That's it. We want the truth. We were able to speak to elected officials down there. We were able to speak with law enforcement down there, who opened up to us. These people were steadfast in not doing their jobs, but we knocked on their door 10 o'clock at night on a Friday. They opened themselves up and they're willing to speak with us. And that's the dedication to You Are the Power, and that's a concept of team that I want to stress this morning. Because it's not about me, and it's not about Spike, it's not about Jason, it's not about Brandon. It's about that truth, and it's about seeking justice for those who so desperately need it. And so that's our goal, that's our mission, and we do that through compassion and love, first and foremost. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on here in Georgia, and before I do that, I'm going to be remiss if I don't recognize some people that are here in this room today. So what I'm going to call it before I get started is this row of people right here that are wearing black. If you guys could stand up for 1 second, please, because I'm going to speak about you guys over the next 20 minutes in detail.
So 20 minutes, that's all you have to stand.
Yeah. So you have Justin and his wife, Mandy. You have Jenny and her husband, Jonathan. You have Tony and his wife, too. And they're going to be critical during the next conversation that we're getting ready to have. Thank you guys for standing up, because this is what You Are the Power is about. So just in a show of hands real quick, raise your hand if you're a parent, but leave your hand up please. Okay, if you're a parent, you can keep your hand up. If you're an aunt, an uncle, or a grandparent, raise your hand. Okay, so if you just look around this room, mathematically, just real quick, probably 95+% of everybody in here is a parent, grandparent, aunt, or uncle. Imagine if you will, you have a 3-month-old baby. Your baby's crying, don't understand what's going on. You love your baby, you look at your baby, the baby's legs are swollen up, they're turning blue. It's obvious that the baby is in pain. As a loving parent, you're going to take that baby to the pediatrician because you want answers as to what's going on with your baby. And Matt and Tucky Hernandez, they did that. They took baby Emma to their pediatrician and said, please help us, my baby. These are the symptoms my baby's having. I need some help. The pediatrician takes a look at what the baby, just a real quick diagnosis, and says, this might be outside my scope. What I want you to do is I want you to take the baby to Children's Healthcare, to CHOA in Atlanta for further investigation and testing, right? Further treatment and testing, because these are the specialists. These are the people that the other pediatricians trust to look after your babies. Matt and Tucky, loving parents, do exactly what the pediatrician says, and they take baby Emma to CHOA. CHOA does some investigation and some x-rays and some testing on baby Emma, and they notice that there's some healing fractures in the baby's ribs and on their legs. So that triggers a potential child abuse protocol. So a CAP, or a child abuse certified physician, gets involved, looks at the x-rays and says, these two parents, Matt and Tucky, have obviously beaten and abused their baby, their 3-month-old baby, and these are healing child abuse wounds. That triggers DFACS and the involvement of law enforcement. DFACS comes in on the advice of CHOA, and they seize the baby. They seize your child, they seize your grandchild, they seize your niece or your nephew. Without due diligence, without proper investigation, without second, third, or fourth opinion, they seize a baby. They take your baby and they say, you are child abusers, you may not have any contact with your baby. That gets law enforcement involved. Law enforcement gets involved and they arrest Tucky. They arrest the mother for abusing her baby. No investigation ever, no due diligence, no independent investigation. Law enforcement simply goes by what a child abuse protocol, a child abuse physician says is child abuse. She is arrested and charged with 2 felonies, and she's facing 20 years in prison. No due diligence, no independent investigation, no secondary opinion from a doctor. You are a child abuser. You cannot see your baby. Not only can you not see your baby, you are no longer to live with your husband. You are no longer to have contact with your husband. You are no longer to have contact with your baby. Matt and Tucky have, at the time, a 3-year-old daughter as well. So not only is Tucky isolated from her newborn baby, but she is breastfeeding. If you're a mother, you understand that the connection there is dire. She cannot feed her baby. She cannot take care of her baby. She cannot be with her support system, all because they did everything that were asked of them. And one person said this is child abuse, and it triggered all these protocols. The babies are placed with Tony and his wife. They're families. Tony's wife is Tucky's sister. So they're placed with, the babies are placed with Tony and his wife. Young Emma is still presenting the same issues with her legs, her discoloration, her crying, her sickness. The baby is still presenting the same issues that she was taken to the hospital for initially. So what does that mean for Tony and his wife? Tony and his wife are suddenly child abusers as well. Tony and his wife have their babies, have their nieces taken from them under threat that they are also child abusers. Mind you, the baby is not getting treatment and care for the underlying issues, but now suddenly Tony and his wife are also child abusers. Other doctors, independent doctors, are saying, no, baby Emma has an underlying medical condition that has caused these injuries. CHOA, DFACS, law enforcement, ignore these other independent doctors. Secondary opinions, they are ignored. Tony and his wife are now child abusers. They're under investigation by DFACS, potentially investigations by law enforcement. Tony and them have done nothing to harm their nieces, nothing. They are loving, caring aunt and uncle. All they were trying to do is the same thing that his brother-in-law and sister-in-law was doing. Tell them that's all they're trying to do is take care of their nieces. That's all Matt and Tucky were doing, was trying to take care of their baby. Now that the state's involved, suddenly everybody who's involved with these children are going to be under investigation. They're child abusers. Lo and behold, because the state now views them as child abusers, Tony and his family are under investigation. They can't have the babies. The babies are put in foster care. Okay? This is June, July timeframe. We're now in January. Since then, the babies have been in 8 to 9 different homes. 8 to 9 different homes. Underlying medical conditions are not being addressed. What happens to Matt? Matt gets arrested, is in charge, and is ultimately charged with the same crimes that his wife was charged with. So now Matt is under more restrictive law conditions, can't have any contact with his wife, can't have any contact with his babies, can't have any contact with Tony or Tony's wife because they are witnesses in a case. The baby Emma is still not getting proper care. The baby Emma and Aria are being transported from home to home, facility to facility, test by test. They're being force inoculated. They're being vaccinated against their parents' will. The parents have done nothing wrong, nothing. They are having to prove their innocence rather than being innocent until proven guilty. Nobody is listening to Tony or his wife or Matt or Tucky. Jonathan and Jennifer Williams, foster parents for 13 years. They've adopted some of the children and foster parents. Professionals, Jonathan is a pharmacist, Jennifer, photographer, and works with children. They get, by chance, baby Emma and baby Aria for 5 days. Their instinct, their brain, their heart, their intuition tells them these babies are not being abused. They contact DFACS and say, hey guys, what the heck are y'all doing? These babies need medical attention. They're not being abused. 13 years they've been foster parents advocating for rights of children who do not have a voice for themselves. What does DFACS do against Jonathan and Jennifer shortly thereafter? Close their home. Because Jonathan and Jennifer speak out against what is a tyrannical act by the state. They have the courage to speak up for Tony, for his wife, for Matt, for Tucky. 13 years, Jonathan and Jennifer have had multiple babies in their home. DFACS shuts their home down and says you can no longer foster, you can no longer have children in your home. Your ideals and values no longer align with ours. 13 years they've done this. Without warning, without notification, without justification, their home is closed. Mandy, who is a member of You Are the Power, contacts her sister, Jenny, and says, hey, there's this group of people that I think are going to be able to help you. They might be a little wacky, they might be a little, but I think they're going to be able to help you.
For a moment.
I've seen this Spike Cohen guy online. I've seen Jason. Yeah, I'm not so sure he's got, but they're probably going to be able to help you. So Mandy reaches out to You Are the Power. You Are the Power, through the vetting process, looks over the case and says, through Spike, through Brandon, through the executive leadership team says, this is in our wheelhouse. We have got to help this family. We have got to help this family. No questions asked. We're going to help this family. Whatever needs to be done, we're going to help this family. There has to be more families in Georgia that are being adversely impacted by CHOA and DFACS and law enforcement. This cannot be the only family. We're going to help them. We're going to draw attention to this tragedy. That gets me involved because I already have the relationship with Jason and Brandon and Spike and the executive leadership team. And they're like, hey, Ryan, you're in Georgia. You're in Georgia. I'm in Georgia, and I have a heart, and I have a brain, and I've got children, and I know people. And yeah, I'm going to help. I'm going to help. I'm going to use my network of people to do everything in my power to assist the Hernandez family. I cannot stand by and watch this. I cannot, under any circumstances, allow this to continue. Not only is this right, it is immoral. It is immoral. These babies are being abused, further abused, suffering secondary trauma for no fault of their own. These are innocent babies, shuffling from house to house, doctor's appointment, poked, prod, all while the state is trying to terminate parental rights and put their babies up for adoption. All right? We had a hearing last Friday where the state's recommendation was on March 8th, we're going to terminate Matt and Tucky's parental rights. We're going to put the babies up for adoption immediately, March 8th. And during the past 8 or 9 months, has DFACS done any independent investigation? Has Cohen done any independent investigation? Has law enforcement done any independent investigation? The answer is no, they have not. They've done nothing. But the state wants to terminate parental rights and take baby Emma and Aria away from loving parents and family. This is the same DFACS who, in and around the pandemic, lost 1,800 children. Do you know that? The state of Georgia, while the babies were in state care, in and around the time of the pandemic, have lost 1,800 children that cannot be accounted for. 1,800. And yet, the state thinks that, DFACS thinks, hey, put these children in our program. They're safer. They're better off than with Tony and his wife. They're better off than with Matt and Tucky. They need to be in our care. The same state agency that lost 1,800 children unaccounted for, now under federal investigation for losing 1,800 children. And mind you, this organization that lost 1,800 children, you know how many people lost their jobs for losing 1,800 children? Do you know how many people were demoted or held accountable for losing 1,800 children? Zero. Because they can get away with it. Because nobody has challenged them. Enter Mandy, enter Jonathan, enter Jenny, enter Tony, who has the strength to stand up and say, this is not right. This is not about us. Okay? This is not about us. These people right here are the heroes. All right? They just reached out for help. We're in a position to do that. We're going to do that. But if it weren't for their strength, right? Their strength and their desire to stand up and do the right thing, we would not be here today. Last Friday, for the same judge who wanted to take the children away, the same DFACS attorney, the same caseworker who wants to put these babies up for adoption, suddenly had a change of heart. The same judge who was hell-bent on child abuser, decided that Matt and Tucky are not child abusers. Tony and his wife are not child abusers. The same judge who was hell-bent on taking the babies away from loving family, that same judge decided to rule in our favor. She said, she ordered DFACS, she ordered the attorney for DFACS to come up with a reunification plan. We went back to court this week. The reunification plan was signed off and agreed on by Matt and Tucky, agreed on by their attorneys. And on March the 1st, Tony and his wife were going to be ordered by the judge temporary legal guardianship of Emma and Ari. What that means for the Hernandez family is that DFACS is no longer involved in their lives. Come March 1st, Tony and his wife are going to be able to make all the decisions for those babies moving forward. The only reason that the judge did not order Matt and Tucky to have their babies again is because they have pending felony charges hanging over their head. Our goal, this goal, and it's now going to be y'all's goal, is to write the district attorney in Forsyth County, write the assistant district attorney who's prosecuting the case, write the chief deputy for the sheriff's office, write the major over criminal investigations and say, what you're doing is wrong. Tony and his wife, Matt and Tucky, have not abused these babies. Drop these charges immediately. Drop these charges. If you go onto our website, youarethepower.net/Hernandez, we've made this easy for everybody. I mean, this is so easy that Jason can do it.
Sometimes.
So there's a sample email that you're going to see right here. Just put your name to it, send it to all the officials. We've put the officials' contact information there. Send them an email and let them know what you think about what they're doing to the Hernandez family. Because the people that raise their hands in this room, the mothers, the fathers, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles, this could be you when you take your baby to the doctor. This could be your niece, your nephew. This could be your grandchild, and it's happening. Since we've come forward with the Hernandez case, there's 3 more families that we're in the process of vetting, 3 who are under the same circumstance. Contacts in the media that we've reached out to, there's an investigative reporter in Atlanta. She's doing a story that will include the Hernandez case. She's had 12 other families come forward and say, CHOA and DFACS and local law enforcement has done this to my family as well. So it's not just in Metro Atlanta. We've got families in South Georgia, we've got families in North Georgia, we've got families in Middle Georgia here that have been adversely impacted by one doctor's medical opinion. One. And the sad part is the 3 new families who have come forward that more than likely we're going to help. We haven't vetted the cases yet, but we're going to be in the process of doing that. The common denominator with those 3 families, including the Hernandez family, the same doctor. It's the same doctor each and every time.
Dox him.
So Ted is a little more aggressive than. So if you, I love Ted. Ted is he's I'm gonna choose my words carefully. Ted is very vocal about things. Otherwise, I have to be reserved on. Ted enjoys that freedom. I have to choose my words carefully. I love Ted. That's probably but it's the same doctor. Okay, you cannot tell me sitting here, your logical brains, your hearts. You cannot tell me that this is not a broken system. You cannot tell me that this is not conspiratorial. You cannot tell me that this is not wrong. You cannot tell me the same organization that lost 1,800 children are trying to do something to their Hernandez babies. You cannot. You can try, but you can't convince me because I've seen it with my own eyes. Right? I've seen it with my own eyes over the past few months. This team of volunteers, everybody up on the stage, we would have nightly Zoom calls, right? We would work our Monday through Friday 9 to 5 jobs, 8 to 10 hours a day, and then we would get on our Zoom calls every night for 2 or 3 hours, talking about strategy, talking about support, getting Matt and Tucky into private counseling, resources for the babies. I mean, we are putting all these mechanisms in place. This is a holistic approach to a government destructive policy, right? Because the solution is not the state, the solution is here. The solution is here. It's all of us in this room, one community, gathered up, one voice, right? One voice saying, I'm not going to allow this to happen to innocent men and women, innocent parents who have done nothing more than taken their babies to a doctor and have one doctor's opinion say that is abuse. That doctor is a hammer and all he sees is nails. Every single time I could show you these cases, I can just outline these cases, and it's kind of boring, I assure you, but we dive into these things like an intelligence analyst does, and you can just see connection after connection after connection. It is something that needs to be addressed. Up until a couple of weeks ago, the governor's office refused to have any contact with us. The governor's office refused to address the needs of their constituency. They wouldn't return our phone calls, they wouldn't return our emails. The only people who were really receptive to what we were trying to do, believe it or not, and to their credit, Senator John Ossoff, and his office has really been fantastic. He's surprised me. And Raphael Warnock as well. Their offices didn't just pay lip service, but their offices have contacted the governor's office on our behalf and said, you need to listen to this family. You need to understand what's going on. So we now have the governor's ear. Jennifer and Mandy and Tony's wife and I are going to go to a luncheon Monday with the director of DFACS, director of Georgia's Department of Health and Human Services. We're going to ask her these questions. We're going to ask her these questions. Why are caseworkers allowed to do this without independent investigation? Why are they allowed to operate with impunity in the face of multiple contradictory scientific medical doctors with known degrees? Why is your agency only relying on this one doctor when there are 5, 6, 7 other doctors saying this is not abuse? Why are you allowed to do that? Why are you allowed to take babies from parents? without due diligence, without an investigation. Why is law enforcement permitted to do nothing more than accept the opinion of a doctor? Why can they do nothing but accept the opinion of a doctor and charge innocent people with felons? Why are Matt and Tucky facing 20 plus years in prison? Matt and Tucky haven't been able to live together, talk with each other, see their babies together, go to doctor's appointments for their babies since June. DFACS fails to advise the parents when the babies are being taken to the doctor, because they're by law allowed to go to these visits. DFACS doesn't notify them. Tucky, who is from Thailand and does have difficulty sometimes speaking and understanding what people are saying, especially doctors. This medical terminology is confusing. It's confusing to me. Tucky doesn't understand sometimes what these doctors are doing. The state has force inoculated, vaccinated Aria. Aria is 4 years old. She just turned 4 years old. She's receiving vaccinations that 18-year-old should be having. This is a 4-year-old baby whose immune system is compromised, who these babies have been sick from June until January, being transferred from house to house to house to house. Their immune system is compromised, but they're just injected. Not only that, but their emotional and physical well-being has deteriorated. Aria loves to dance and sing and swim and play guitar with her dad. She doesn't want to do those things anymore. Emma cries. She doesn't understand why she can't be home with mom and dad. So the state's put Matt and Tucky in a position to where they have to lie to their own children. Matt and Tucky have to tell their babies, you guys can't come home, you guys can't live with us because we're working on the house, we gotta clean the house, you can't be with us right now. They're having to lie they're put in a position to lie to their own babies. Because a parent, it can't explain to their 4-year-old child while mom and daddy can't see them or see them together. A parent can't explain that to them. So they just have to say, hey, I'm sorry, we're gonna clean the house. And when the house is clean, you can come back and live with us. Matt and Tucky and Tony and his wife have spent tens of thousands of dollars, if not like close to $100,000, defending themselves for this. To no fault of their own, the state is bankrupting a family, right? We do what we can. We give money when we can. We do everything in our power. We know attorneys, and we know attorneys that are going to work pro bono. We know attorneys that would normally charge $100,000 to take this case. They're saying, hey, we'll do it for $20,000, right? So we know counselors who would normally charge $100, $150 an hour say, send Matt Tucky up our way, we'll do it for free. So that's what we're doing, right? This is not a state solution. This is a people solution. This is an individual solution. This is you and me and all of us working together to help this family.
Free market liberty.
My hope today, right, not as a state director for You Are the Power, all right? I'm not talking to you right now as a state director of You Are the Power. What I'm talking to you right now is I'm a father, I'm a husband. If you can do anything to help this family today, right, anything, network, go to You Are the Power, sign up for the free membership, get on the mailing list. Talk to me, talk to Jason, talk to Brandon. I'll give you our emails. I'll give you my personal cell phone number. I do not mind passing it out. Call me. Shoot me a text message. Send me an email. Ryan, hey, I'm in this area. I think I might somebody I know might be able to help. Elizabeth is fantastic at this. Elizabeth, who's our executive director for the LP here in Georgia. She networks behind the scenes. She's a champion at doing this. She wants no recognition for it. And if I called you out, I'm sorry. But she wants no recognition for this. She doesn't do this for anything other than the same reason we're doing it is because she wants to help others. That's all we're asking today. If you can't, I don't want money. We don't need money. Money's nice, but what we need is support. We need people that are willing to just maybe take a couple hours off work, drive up to the courthouse and sit with us and support us. That's it. Join our network. I'm not asking for money. That's not what I'm up here to do. Be willing to do that, right? Be willing to be the voice in your communities who's willing to stand up and say, you know what, this is not right. What you're doing is not right. And I'm a voter. You're a voter. Some of these people are in these positions, they are appointed, but most are elected. Tell your neighbors, tell your folks in your community about what's going on. Say, can you believe what the district attorney of Forsyth County is doing to this family? She's elected, right? Hold her accountable for these actions. Hold her accountable for these decisions that she's making. Because if we don't, they're going to continue to do this. They're going to continue to railroad families across the state. No one's challenging them on this. No one. Mandy and Jennifer and their families had the courage to say, this is not right. I can't tell you if it weren't for these families here, we would not know about these other families that were getting ready to vet. Rebecca Lindstrom at 11 Alive in Atlanta, she would not be doing a story coming up next month with 12, 13, 14, 15 other families, right? The curtain's falling, the veil's falling, however you want to describe that. But over the next couple of months, this is all going to be exposed publicly, right? The only thing that we're asking is just be a part of that. Even if it's nothing more than you send an email and say, hey, look, man, I love you guys. I love the Hernandez family. I can't be there in court. I can't give any money, but God, I support you. Right? That's what I want you here for. That's all we do. Words of encouragement, right? When we have our Zoom calls, when the team has their Zoom calls, and I'm not just saying this, every night when we hang up, we always say, I love you. I love you guys. I love you guys. You guys are freaking awesome, right? And we're not paying lip service to what we're doing, but we sincerely mean that with our hearts, because that's what's driving us, right? We don't do this for money. I get paid $0 for doing this, $0, right? I do it because it's the right thing to do. And if I'm in a position to help someone, then that's what I'm going to do. Brandon, Jason, Spike, that's what they're going to do. This family here, that's all they're going to do, right? We're not rich people. We don't have like the extra money to do all these things, but we'll go without sometimes to make sure that the Hernandez family has everything that they need, right? If it's lack of sleep, so be it. If it's staying up on a phone call until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I've had private conversations with Matt. Last time he and I spoke by phone was about 2.5 hours. Matt is isolated by himself up in Hall County with no support network. Find Matt on Facebook. I'll give you his Facebook information. Shoot him a message. Man, dude, I'm here for you. I love you. Whatever you need from me, if it's nothing more than words of encouragement, I'm here for you. They need that. Tucky needs that. Tony and his wife need that. Mandy and Jonathan and Justin, they need that. Because truth be told, we're not infallible, right? We're tired. Sometimes we get tired, right? And those words of encouragement mean just, are there any kids in here? A whole heck of a lot, I won't say a whole heck of a lot, right? Because we're not doing this for glory we're not. If public attention wasn't drawn to this case, we would still be doing it. That's why we fight. It does help that the public attention, national attention has been drawn. Worldwide attention has been drawn to this. The DFACS caseworker got on the stand in open court on the record and complained about him. And complained about receiving 500 emails asking her to stop doing what she's doing. Oh, the audacity of us to call her out on her BS. The audacity of Spike Cohen to get online and post something on Twitter or Facebook and say, you guys are wrong for doing this, right? So he's now on the record on this case, official record on this case. Jenny got called out in open court on the record about her interviews, about what she's doing on social media. Exercising her First Amendment rights to get up there and speak out about the government. What does the government do? Call her out on the stand while she's testifying, emotionally testifying about this case, about these babies, about this tragedy. What does the state decide to do? Call her out about giving interviews. She gave an interview with Jake. She gives interviews with reporters in New York. She gives interviews with people in Missouri. All she's doing is trying to spread awareness about what's going on, and the state has the audacity to call her out for exercising her First Amendment. If that doesn't tell you everything you know about this case, That's it right there. They are trying to silence us for doing nothing more than speaking truth to power, right? And I'm going to close with this, and I'm going to turn it back over to Spike, and we're going to take some questions and answer session up here. We are here to remind the government, not necessarily your other power, but everybody in this room is here to remind the government that they are beholden to us, not we to them. Okay? That's it. So when Jenny gets called out, when Spike gets called out for speaking out against the government, and the government's trying to fight them, and the government closes Jonathan and Jenny's home after 13 years, it's sad, but it also means that we're doing something right. It's telling me that we're doing something right because we are ticking them off. We are a threat to them. Every time we speak out, we are a threat to their power. Every time we have the courage to stand up in the face of tyranny and do what is right, we are a threat to their power. That's all they care about is power. We are a threat to them. Look at what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe not even quite a dozen people. Look at what not even a dozen people have been able to. There's people from Turkey, Greece, Australia, Germany, all across the world writing about this case. And I'm not tooting our horns. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is just the power of 12 people, 15 people can do that. But what if we had everybody? What if we had more than 12? What if we had 30? What if we had 40? Imagine what we can do with that much more support, right? That's what I'm asking for today. That's the one thing I'm asking for is please stop by our booth and talk to us. Pick up one of these pamphlets. It's got a QR code on there. You can scan it, and it'll take you to the link on our webpage. It's got the email addresses. It's got the sample email. Tonight we're going to be down in Covington at the local coffee house from like 7:30 to 9 to continue this conversation. Spike's going to be there. We're going to be there. The Hernandez team's going to be there. We would love to hear from you guys. I mean, we work for fried chicken, biscuits, cornbread, and hugs. Stop by and do that. If you got some food, bring it because I'm going to eat it. But if you can, just stop by. Words of encouragement. That's what it's all about. Learn more about the other power. I'm going to shut up and turn it back over to Spike. And we're going to open ourselves up to any questions you guys might have. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys being here. Sincerely. Thank you.
Before I open up for some questions that any of you might have about you or the power, I just want to talk briefly and touch on the power of you. Jason mentioned Columbia, South Carolina. When the Columbia City Council and the Columbia Police Department started threatening a charity for feeding people who were in need, until you found out about it, until our organization found out about it, they were just getting away with doing it. And then we found out about it. And thanks to those of you who helped us spread the word about it and put pressure on those officials to back off, that's exactly what they did. And Be Kind, Be Great is continuing to feed people in need in Columbia, South Carolina. In Gastonia, but thank you. But in Gastonia, North Carolina, when Joshua Aurora was beaten up and his service dog was tased and she later died and he was being held on bogus charges, they thought they were going to get away with it because they've been doing that for years, decades to homeless people. But then we found out about it. And thanks to those of you who helped us spread the word about it, and thanks to the pressure that we put on them, Joshua's charges were dropped. And he now has a service dog. He was able to get help from members of his community who are helping him get back on his feet. He's now living in a home. He now has work. And we're now working to get those officials and those police officers that were involved in that held responsible for him. In, where was the other one? In Mississippi with Rasheem Carter, where he was killed and then dismembered. And the police said, looks like natural causes to us. They thought they were going to get away with that. Then we found out about it. And thanks to those of you who have spread the word on that, we have been able to make tremendous progress in finding out. And unfortunately, like Ryan said, we can't talk about it fully yet, but we're going to be spreading some very important updates on that in the coming days and weeks. And finally, right here in Georgia, this Hernandez case, they thought they were going to get away with that. And they had a good reason to think they were going to get away with it. And they've apparently been doing it over and over again. We don't even know how many dozens and possibly hundreds of times they've done this. But then we found out about it. And thanks to those of you who have been sharing the word about that, that judge who refused to admit the testimony of doctors saying that Emma has a medical condition miraculously had a 180-degree turn and decided that actually it looks like this family should be reunited. And we're going to continue to fight on that until not only are the family reunited, but the charges are dropped and the children are back in Matt and Tucky's home where they belong, and this entire nightmare is behind them, and Jennifer's, the Williams home is reopened as it should be, and all of this is behind everyone, and we're going to find out others that this is happening to, and we're going to help them as well. This organization 2 years ago was largely an idea, and thanks to those of you who have joined, we now have thousands of members across the country who are working to help free their communities by finding people who are being abused by their local governments and organizing together to get them the justice and the respect that they should have gotten in the first place. That is what you are able to do through this organization. And thanks to those of you who have been a part of helping spread the word, last year we reached over 50 million people. And this year so far, we are on pace to more than double that. That is what your power can look like in this organization. If you are not a part of it yet, I invite you to join us. youarethepower.net. Sign up. If you're able to give, that's great, but we just want you involved. So if you want to sign up for a free membership, paid membership, whatever you sign up for, we just love to have you be a part of this organization. Because with your help, we are going to help so many more people. We are going to keep this from happening in the future by showing the public that this is what happens when public officials are not respecting us as individual human beings. And not only can we help people now, but we can stop future damage from happening in the future, and we can do it because of you. So thank you for being a part of this. And with that, I will open the floor to any questions that you have for me or anyone else on the team. Thank you.
You mentioned there's a doctor or doctors on the other side of this one bad doctor that chose. Does this baby have a diagnosis yet from a non-oriented doctor?
Yeah, so my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the doctors are saying that Emma has either neonatal rickets, which is, I believe, a condition that will clear up over time, or possibly a condition called osteogenesis imperfecta, or OI, which is a chronic health condition. Who here knows Thomas Queter? Has heard of Thomas Queter in New York? He's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And has physical deformities because he has OI, and it starts as a child with bones just breaking and constantly having to break and re-heal. Is there what you want to add to that?
I think that something that's really important with this is that actually DFACS was preventing the girls or baby Emma from being tested, and so as a part of the hearing on last Friday, the judge is now ordering that the parents, Matt and Taki, can now provide any kind of testing necessary in order to figure out what that medical underlying condition is.
Yes.
And so we're now able to, almost a year later, start the process to be able to figure out exactly what that medical condition is.
You know this, but it's often battle with experts, right? You get 5 experts who think this and that one guy.
You have 6 different opinions.
Yeah. So
maybe you get 5 of the same and you get that one idiot.
right. So what we've had so far right now is 2 experts who have said this is definitely a health condition of some kind, and 1 child abuse physician who said, I'm pretty sure this is abuse because statistically these cases tend to be abuse. And when he was asked for the source of that statistic, he said, you can look it up on the internet.
You can Google it.
That's the battle of the experts that was in court. Guess which one the judge sided with? But then again, after however many hundreds or thousands of you emailed her and let her know what you thought of that, she miraculously changed her mind completely. Funny how that happened. Anyway, any other questions? I got one from Martin. We were going strong. I knew we had another question. It's incredible that you guys are all so convinced about the good that You Are the Power is doing that we've fully satisfied all of your questions. And
Look
yet,
at all
I
the
think-
members we've got.
I think, and it's incredible. Yeah. But I think there has to be at least one more person who has some. No? Okay. All right. Well, with that, I will say thank you again. And also, and Ryan had brought this up. That's not on this. Ryan had brought this up. But at 7:30, after everything ends here, we're going to be having an open house at the local coffee house. That's actually what it's called, local coffee house in Covington. and it's going to be from 7:30 to 9ish. We'd love to have you there. If you'd like to come over to our booth, it's right when you go out this way. It's right around this way. We'd love to have you be a part of it. If you want to pick up one of our brochures here, it actually has a QR code that you can go to. It goes to the link you'rethepower.net/Hernandez. It has all of the most up-to-date information about this cause. And it also has the list of people that you can email about it. It also has an email template you can use that has all of the relevant information. You can just plug the names in there and send it off there. And again, we'd love to have you be a part of this organization. If you go to you'rethepower.net, you can sign up today. And thank you again. The reality is you're here as part of the Libertarian Party of Georgia because you want to fight against the abuse that is inherent with the centralization of power. That's what you're doing on the electoral politics front. And me too, I'm part of the Libertarian Party, obviously. We're doing this on the cultural and individual front. We are finding people, while we're working to take over the world, leave everyone alone, people are being harmed right now, and we're helping them right now. And while we're harming them right now, we're showing the public that we can fight against this and keep it from happening by demanding that public officials respect us. So thank you so much for being a part of this. I love all of you, and let's keep fighting for liberty. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. We do appreciate the work that you're doing. It is always a pleasure to have you guys here. So thank you, everyone, again, for coming out. I realized that earlier I did not introduce myself. My name is Jared Bell. I am the chair of the Libertarian Party of Georgia. So you'll see a lot of me this weekend. I'll be kind of acting as your MC, and I'll be around so you can ask me any questions you got. You'll see me in the back. You'll see me around the sides. Eventually, you'll see me sitting down. But feel free to take me aside. I'd love to talk to you guys and answer any questions you have, or hear what you have to say. I love talking to you guys and do appreciate that. So we've got a few housekeeping things. I'm going to let you guys go on a break, but I have a reason for letting you do that. And the first reason I have is that we have snacks in the back. The snacks are there. We are gladly accepting donations. We do want you guys to be not hungry because you're not you when you're hungry, right? So yes, we do want you guys to have some snacks, some food. We will have food trucks out here at noon, and that will be after Elizabeth speaks. The food trucks will be Mexican food, I believe this time, and there are vegan options as well. So I hear it's going to be delicious. Make sure and support those guys. Don't make it a waste of a trip for them. Please go out, and it'll keep you on site so you can see the next event. Second thing I've got for you. This time around, like many other times, we're going to do a 50-50 raffle. And you might say, what is that, Jared? That makes no sense to me. What a 50-50 raffle is we'll give out tickets, and you can get them at the front desk. You'll see Cindy out there. She has been doing a great job with our registration. She will be able to give you a ticket for a raffle. And at the end of the day, we will give away 50% of those proceeds. And if you're the winner, you get 50% and the party gets 50%. And we'll see what happens at the end of it. We might harass you to give us the donation, but we're gonna be nice and we're gonna say you get to keep 50%. So we do love this. It's a fun time. Make sure you get a ticket. We will get some excitement behind it. We will have you guys real excited, and it'll be a good time. Second thing that I want to bring up, I guess it's the third thing now. Back in the back, there's a table right over here on the right. We have our affiliate logos. We had a little contest for all of our local affiliates to create a logo, to build some momentum. And what we're doing is we've got a jar behind each one. And the one that you think is best, you just drop some money in there and say, this is the one that I think is the best logo out of all of them. One, it creates a competition between our affiliates. And two, it makes us kind of think better about having higher quality, better quality things. I guess things that we're giving out, things that we're putting on, stuff that we're giving to people. So you say who you think is best. At the end of it, we will split those proceeds with that local affiliate, which will create even more momentum for that affiliate. So, table back there, you can put in your donations there. Snacks in the back. The VFW table in the back also has a donation bucket, and the 50-50 raffle. 4 things we got for you. Please make your way to those things when I tell you it's okay. Now, it is 10:46 right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let us go for a break until 11 o'clock, because I want you guys to go do that and feel that freedom to do that, so you're not having to walk in the middle of things. You can have your conversations, run to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, but be back here at 11 o'clock. We will start at 11 on the dot. So with that said, you guys are dismissed, and I will see you here in 14 minutes. Thank you.